Reverend Alan Miller had many gifts. He was certainly pastoral, compassionate, and spiritual. But the attributes that most made an impression on people were perhaps his positivity and his sense of fun. He nurtured those qualities continually and looked for ways to weave them into everything he undertook. That included sabbaticals, which he promoted wholeheartedly for their restorative effect. While he understood the importance of ongoing education and study to promote ministry, he felt a sabbatical should take one out of their usual mindset and environment and give them a chance for a lighthearted, playful period to refresh the mind, renew their spirit, and put joy back in their ministry. Accordingly, the intent of this memorial fund would be to support sabbaticals that uniquely focus on the rest, relaxation, and renewal of pastors, but could also include spiritual enrichment and education.
Hi, my name is Toby Holloman, and for the 15 years, up until 2012, I was the Associate Conference Minister in your Penn Northeast Conference. About 5 years into my tenure, Alan Miller became my conference minister, my boss, my colleague, and my dear friend. I miss my friend. I hear that the new Alan Miller Memorial Fund is designed to support ministers seeking to have a fun-filled, joyful, and renewing sabbatical experience. Well, that is precisely what it was like to work with Alan, as well as the rest of the conference staff, every single day. Alan was a really fun guy to be around. Everybody knew it. Heck, even my colleagues in other UCC conferences knew it, and boy, were they jealous. Not of Alan. They were jealous of me for having the opportunity to work with Alan. When we gathered for interjudicatory staff meetings, they would briefly greet me and then quickly ask, "So, what zany thing has Alan said or done lately?" Even the Lutherans were smitten. During one of our annual conference meetings, a shared ministry Lutheran pastor took me aside and said to me, "Toby, as a Lutheran pastor, I go to our Lutheran Synod every year because I'm required to do so. But I come to this annual meeting every year because I want to." And then he nodded in the direction of Alan about 75 feet away, who was leading a long conga line through the assembly hall as some very hip music blared from the speakers in the auditorium. That was vintage Alan. He was fun-filled, joyful, and a renewing experience for everybody. So, I hope you'll join the conga line of support for this Memorial Fund, thereby helping our pastors to remain strong in body and spirit so that they can always be at their best for their congregations and ministries. God bless you.
Hello, friends. John Dorhauer here, General Minister and President of the United Church of Christ and longtime and dear friend of Alan Miller. It's my favorite story of his. I used to call him in his latter years when he wasn't doing well, and we would talk. And in my last conversation, he asked, as he always did, "John, was I a good conference minister?" And I would tell him the stories of how beloved he was. And in that last conversation, he said, "John, I sure don't remember a lot of the things that happened to me, but I remember all of the people." And then he said, "If I had to make a choice, I'm glad I remember the people." I loved Alan. I miss him dearly. He was a friend, a lover of the church, and I pray he rests in peace.
I'm on the beach today remembering the Reverend Alan C. Miller. Alan loved coming to the beach with his family and his friends. He had a great time here. He felt close to God here. He wanted others to have a great time also. And that's what we're doing. We're doing our best to raise some money so people can have fun. Alan may not have done backflips, but he sure loved God and God's people.
Hi, I'm Dave D. Reamer, a retired Penn Northeast pastor. Alan Miller and I first worked together back in the 1980s on the conference's annual meeting planning committee. That was back in the day when the meeting took place over a weekend at places like Pocono Manor and Bloomsburg University. We added some creative programming to what had been just a bunch of reports and resolutions. Our friendship grew from there. Later, when Alan was elected Associate Conference Minister in the Southern Conference, he asked me to preach at his installation service. And then, years later, when the Penn Northeast Conference Minister position opened up, I urged him to apply, and I urged the search committee to choose him. And I'm so glad they did. I'm grateful that Alan encouraged me to do consulting work with congregations who were experiencing transitions. Alan used my gifts and skills to help those congregations, but then Alan did that with a lot of people. That was one of his gifts.
To remember Alan and to carry on his conviction about sabbaticals for pastors, PNEC has chosen to establish a fund which will support them financially in planning a sabbatical period that will include a departure from routine, perhaps travel and/or time spent with family, and exposure to places or experiences that are new, uplifting, and fun. Please consider making a donation to the Reverend Alan Miller Fund. You can send a check or money order to 431 Delaware Avenue in Palmerton, Pennsylvania, 18071, or use the QR code on the screen and choose the designation for the Reverend Alan Miller Fund. Thank you.